Welcome to our Wednesday true crime live stream. From now until November, the goal is to do these weekly. Just that way we've got more content coming out. Don't have Comic Wars coming back until November 20th, so there will be some time for some more live streams, things like that. So it'll just be once a week. We'll be doing live streams for right now. Explore Rain City is coming up. I'm aiming to go and do a few in September. Those will probably be like a weekend kind of thing, like Saturday night or Sunday night, something along those lines. But we're going to get to a case that I just recently started looking at. It's a really curious case, to say the very least. It is very, very curious because this is a man who very, very pro-America, very anti-January 6th, doesn't believe the narrative, things like this. But he's very against things like China. Anything that's like another country that's not for America, one that's kind of like down with America, he's like, no, I'm not good with you guys. But if they're like, they're one of our allies, things like this, I don't think you have a problem. But, well, it doesn't matter now because he's gone. Now, depending on what the narrative, which part of the narrative you read, and next week you guys will get to see this as I will be, the infographics ready. I'm actually looking at some of the stuff currently because how I got started in this case is actually in another Facebook group. It was from the David Crowley, what was it? I don't remember what it's called, but it's Dan Hennon, Greg Fernandez Jr. I don't remember the full name of it, but I saw a post in there recently, and I decided, okay, let's take a look at this. Another patriot that went down. That was, according to the narrative, he committed suicide. Well, what did we find out about David Crowley? He didn't commit suicide. In fact, everything shows the opposite of that. He didn't do it. In fact, he was murdered. Him and his wife and his child were all murdered in their home. So, I figure before we're about to release that video, the parts we need to release, which are the little tidbits before we release the big things, that way I can get that all squared away. I know I've been saying I'm going to get that out soon, and then things come up. Yeah, it's life. So, I'm doing my best to get that out as quickly as possible. But before we get into that, that's enough with that part. I'm here to say that I don't believe the narrative ever. When the police say, this is what happened, I question it. Some might wonder, well, why? There's been several cases where the police are just like open and shut. Sure. And there are good there's good homicide detectives out there, just good detectives in general out there, sure. But who's to say they didn't miss something? Or maybe they didn't choose to cover it in the right way. The police also were some of them were on the fence with this guy. Didn't really like the guy because this guy went and harassed Sisolak, who was over in Nevada. I'm not sure. I don't remember if he's the governor or if he's a senator. I'm still looking into this. Keep this in mind. So all I know is this Justin Andersch or Andersch. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I don't want to butcher it. But Justin did not like this guy. Called him a traitor, things like that. He talked about 1776, what the people would have done to politicians that were against the people. They would get tarred and feathered. Okay? He was talking about stringing this guy up. He wasn't talking about killing him. He said he was ballsy for showing up to, a restaurant or whatever without security. Now, I don't know anything about this senator or governor, whatever he is, this politician. I don't really know all of his ties. And we'll be having to go and cover this, and so he might actually be getting a video on his own. It'll be a quicker investigation since it's newer and there's a lot, from what I can see, there's a lot less to cover. But we're going to cover this as much as we can, kind of like how we did Murder of the Gray State. So this will probably be a multi-part series. Well, it will be multi-part. It'll be at least 2 parts, but we're looking... It's probably going to get up to about 6 or 7 episodes. At least. But we're going to go and do our live investigations like we did over on Twitch. And we're going to start doing that a lot more over here on YouTube now. But this case here, it reeks. Allegedly, this is based on what the narrative said, Mr. Justin here, apparently there was an argument with female or somebody else, and then something happened and he went outside or what, I guess, and then killed himself. Funny how when I was looking at the post that this person on the Facebook group posted, they showed proof that this was saying that he was killed, and then quickly, shortly after that, it changed to it was suicide. Now, one could go and assume and say, okay, well, gunshot wound, okay. Is it really that easy to tell for suicide and all this? Sure. Depending on, like, for instance, if it's a headshot wound, it's something like this, generally, somebody that's going to shoot themselves, they're going to shoot themselves in the head, typically. If they're going to commit suicide, that's generally what's going to happen when they commit suicide. Not always, but typically. If somebody wants to just be one and done, they're just done with everything, they're going to kill themselves by doing that, going probably through the, shooting themselves from the inside of their mouth out through the back of their head. There's other ways they could do it as well. They could go from temple to temple. They could just shoot themselves point blank in the face, underneath the chin. There's a lot of different methods, and they're common when it comes to suicide. I know it sucks to say commonality, to have commonality in suicide, but these are two things when it comes down to a gunshot wound. This is typically what we see. Not always. So, that's what the narrative is. So I say, what we should be doing is, let's dig into it. Let's start looking around. Let's start looking at, what do we know about this? Well, I'm not going to show the video, but this is Justin here, and it's Governor Steve Sisolak and his wife Kathy Sisolak. So, he goes and he accosts him at this restaurant. Let's take a look. What is this restaurant here? And I'm not sure what's going on with the internet, so I'll have to go and make sure I take care of that tomorrow. The internet's been having some issues for a while. So this is the restaurant he was accosted at. Now, is this the type of guy that would go way out of his way to go and make sure he's going to be able to accost this Governor Sisolak? I don't think so. Could he have? Yes. I think that he was in the area, is what it was. There was a local restaurant, too, where he was living. We're going to get into this in a bit, so just don't worry. But he went and he accosted him there. So, had some foul language used towards him, and then he said some things. From when I watched the video, it didn't really sound like he was really talking about the guy's wife a whole lot. It was more focusing on him, saying how much of a traitor he is, all this. And I didn't really see anything necessarily calling for violence. I know that sounds really weird. If you watch the video, you'll see what the language says, and he's merely making some statements here. Now, Nevada State Police spokeswoman Kim Yoko Smith said the agency is aware of the incident has opened an investigation. Due to the ongoing status of the investigation, further information cannot be provided at this time. Okay. So, maybe he hit a harassment statute. I have to look at Nevada law, and because state law does differ from federal law, so we do have to go and look at these things from that lens as well. So that'll be getting taken a look at when we actually cover it next week. But he says, and this is from the former Clark County District Attorney David Roger, he said, based on my review of the video, it appears the individual's threats to Governor Sisolak rise to the level of criminal conduct. Prohibits a person from threatening to cause bodily injury to a person if the victim reasonably believes that the threat will be carried out. Now, this is where you have a couple different things when looking at the law. Was he accosting him? Yes. Did he call for violence? He said, we should string you up. I can see where this goes into harassment. But he's not going to be able to. I mean, he could probably hit him with intimidation. It's most likely what he would probably get hit with if he was getting hit with anything. But these are things that can get fought. He's a politician. Then you'd have to look at, okay, why is he accosting him for this? Now, if the accusations can be made against this and say, well, this is what he did, so am I lying about this? Calling something treasonous? Then that gets thrown out. That's more or less what I believe is going on with this case, because Governor Sisolak decides he doesn't want to go and push this guy in the spotlight any further. One could question why. Well, and his statement goes down to this. Let me see. Where was it? It doesn't say it on this one. Yeah, it doesn't say. But he says something about, like, he doesn't want him to be able to spew his vial everywhere. Whatever that means. I mean, I know what it means, but it's kind of ridiculous. He doesn't want to give him an open mic. Why? Because then he could be highlighting some of these things this guy could be doing. Some shady business dealings, possibly. It's a possibility. Usually politicians or this kind of thing, nah, go after them. They're almost always first in line. Go after them. You work for us. It's basically how they use the police. FBI, we've seen this from the Biden administration with look how the FBI works. They're doing exactly that. They don't work for the people like they claim they are. Every now and then they go and do something, but they don't really work for us. They work for the federal government, hence Federal Bureau, right? Right there, it just says it right there, federal. They don't work for the people. They work for government agencies. That's all they work for. They are in government agency, but that's all they're working for is other political powers. They don't care about the people. And that's exactly what this guy's, in a way, kind of saying, yeah, we're not going to arm the police for this. So this guy's now going to speak up, and what's going to happen? He's going to wake more people up. He's going to, quote, red pill people, end quote. So, when did he die, though? Let's take a look at this. Well, it says July 10th, 2022. He's 38 years old. Now, that's what it says. That's when he says he was killed. Well, then let's go and take a look at... Let's look at the police's website. Let's take a look at their reports. There should be something on there for around the 10th. 9th or 10th is what we're looking for. So it's going to be 7, 9, or 10, 2022. There should be some information there. There's not. You'll see what I'm talking about. So we have to go and kind of dig through some of these things I'd searched for. I looked for suicide. I was looking for things. What happened? Because I could not find this date. I couldn't find it. Now maybe I passed over it. Who knows? So here we go. We don't have anything for the 10th. There's nothing. That's for press release. There would be a press release for that. All right. Let's take a look. 7/10/2022. Nothing. Okay. Seven 9/22. Those are 2 days that are completely, there's nothing there. Now, a murder or suicide, or a murder or a suicide would pop up. Now, how do we know this? You're looking at these press releases here, right? Now, you might be thinking, well, why not check this one here? You'll see why in a second. Shooting leaves one man dead and second in critical condition. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see what they have to say. This is the part you guys are going to find very interesting. Now, just a few things just to kind of cross off our list, just so you guys understand who this guy was. 30-year-old male, lived in Nevada. He had addresses between Nevada, a lot of addresses in California. I believe he had 1 or 2 in Arizona. I think there was 1 in Texas, and then he had a few over in Oregon, where I'm located. Now, what's eerie is I'm pretty sure I've recently seen this guy's picture. I'm not going to explain where, I'm not going to explain who it's connected to, potentially, and all this. I'm not going to explain any of this. But I've seen this picture. In person, I was at this place, and I saw his picture. Now, I didn't know who it was at the time, because I hadn't heard about this case. I thought it was weird. You know, okay, I mean, I thought it was weird after the fact, but it was somebody that was deceased. Well, this was earlier this month. This, in fact, was not too long ago. So this is what we've got here. Now you say July 7th. Well, this is funny because this says July 8th. Okay, fine. That's when this report was written. 2 males suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. One was pronounced deceased at the scene. The second was transported to the trauma, where he was currently in critical condition. This is where you get this right here. The victims were involved in an argument with a black male adult. During the argument, the suspect took out a firearm and fired multiple shots, striking the victims. The suspect fled prior to officers' arrival. Identification of the victim, as well as the cause and manner of death, will be released by the Clark County Coroner's Office. So, then it gives you that information. There's nothing there. It's 11:14 p.m. Well, the other one said it was on the 10th. That's when he died. So if this one is in trauma when it occurred, this already would show that he was murdered. And that's multiple gunshot wounds. Therefore, not suicide. Not to mention also, Lombardo, you might want to get on whoever wrote this to fix their grammar here, because they spelled dispatch wrong. But that's besides the point. So that's not it. And then it goes right to 11th and 12th. They're both traffic, so couldn't be that one. Maybe the 12th. Let's see. 2 dead in apparent murder-suicide. And then we've got this one here. Argument between neighbors leaves 1 person deceased. Let's take a look. If it'll load. Now, it won't be a long stream tonight, so just an FYI. So hopefully the internet will be working a lot better next Wednesday. All right, let's see. Well, that's July 12th, and this is directly when this occurred. So that's not it. Can already close that one out. July 13th. It's not it. And that was a murder-suicide. So that's not it either. So they don't have anything here. Well, that's a little suspicious. So now we got this guy that he's outspoken towards government. Specifically the ones that are just terrible. Right? These ones that are just supposed to be against, not pro-America, and they're more just pro-filling their own pockets. So, interesting. Let's take a look. So we've got his Instagram. So he died on the 10th. Let's see if there's anything posted after the 10th. Well, 6 weeks ago, from today, we are on the 13th. Now, on Instagram, when it says 6 weeks ago, that could be from anywhere from the 10th to the 16th. Okay. So, potentially, this could be showing that he was alive, or somebody had access to his account, posting things. But this is also a guy, if you were to go and watch his stuff, he called some things well before they actually occurred. Even calling for the Georgia Guidestones to get blown up. "7 weeks ago. And this is just showing some of it's fallen down still. Interesting. And see, he followed Q as well. So pay close attention to that as well. Because now you've got the other ones, these other people, they're going to go and say, well, he was a Q cultist and things like that. But really, if people followed what Q had to say, what these posts were, they're very interesting. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Q couldn't be part of the government and is just kind of another side that's trying to screw the rest of us over. I'm not saying that. But it's funny how all these different things, they occur, and then all of a sudden what Q had said actually shows the outcome of how to, what's going on here. People getting arrested, things happening here. Just saying that. See, and he's even agreeing with that too. I'm not impressed. Still thinking we're getting played. Everyone stay calm. Quote unquote. Q is back to save the day. Don't worry about inflation, food, gas, rent. Just be happy you got some random cryptic messages posted on the internet. Posted 8 weeks ago. Same. So, just things to consider here. You guys posted some things that could be considered controversial. Why is that? Why are we seeing people that had a pretty strong online presence? They're getting knocked off or they're being brought into the fold. It's exactly that. Those that don't fall in line are the ones that need to fall apart. That's based on how this all works. And see, this is posted on June 26th. Now, if we were to go through his tweets, July 6th, what do you got? He calls him a traitor. He goes after Trump even. Okay, well, what about his likes? Check his likes. When's the last time you liked anything? It's not what I clicked on. Oh, I'm loving this. Internet's acting up pretty wild. Well, we'll look at this some other time. End of the day, one of the videos you showed at the very top of his page showed this guy here, Justin Gaethage, or I don't know how to pronounce the last name, so we're just going to call him Justin. So there's the two Justins. This Justin had he was sporting a big old beard, and he was trying to get in better shape. Oh, he's a small guy. He's not very heavy. He's only 155 pounds at 5'8".